Hello, I'm Jane Simpson. I began the Let's Talk MND podcast after my husband Robert was diagnosed with MND and he died 10 months later. This podcast has built an MND family. We share real stories from people living with MND, those who love them, and we learn about research and care in plain English. I'm not an expert, just someone with lived experience, and together we are stronger. This podcast is proudly supported by Evercare, an assisted living brand that shares our belief in independence, dignity, and community. You can learn more about their range at evercare.com.au, or you can find them in Bunnings Warehouse stores nationally. I'm so thankful for Evercare's support of the MND community, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's conversation. Hello, everybody. I meet some extraordinary people in doing what I do, and these are two of the most extraordinary people I've come across yet. So Joseph Skewes reached out to me, it's last year sometime, isn't it, Joseph? To tell me about a project that he and Rebecca Francis, whom we're going to call Bec, are working on. Welcome, the two of you.
Thanks for having us.
So as we like to do, and as we do, the beginning of every podcast, Joseph, is to tell us who you are.
Sure. So my name's Joseph. I'm living with MND. I was diagnosed in 2024 and live in Adelaide with my wife of more than 15 years and two cats. And I've got a strong background in technology and software development and entrepreneurship in general.
How old are you?
41.
So you were 39 when you were diagnosed?
40 years old.
40,
yeah.
Okay. And Bec, who the heck are you?
I'm Bec Francis, mum of 5 altogether.
What?
Blended family.
Blimey. Okay.
Living in far north Queensland, so on the opposite side of the country, but up the top. And I've been navigating epilepsy for about 8 years now. So different, but still in the neuro cycle. So we're kind of dealing with similar issues, but on a very different spectrum. So it's obviously epilepsy is where I can have seizures. So I have them roughly every 12 days. But for Joseph, it's degenerative. So we're tracking the same signals overall, but we're dealing with very different issues ultimately.
Do you have a background in IT as well?
Yeah, so sort of. I've spent over a decade running my own businesses, and during that time, I've built everything myself, from websites to anything that was needed for it, all of my own software to be able to manage everything. I like to build myself too. So,
with 5 kids. Okay, good on you. Joseph, you're slacking. You've just got 2 cats sitting around there.
I am.
Okay, so the two of you have developed a program called Curalysis, and this little thing blows my mind. So, Joseph, can you explain to us what Curalysis is? And remember, we're talking in layman's terms.
Yeah, no worries. So when I was diagnosed, and actually I'll just mention if my voice sounds a bit shaky, it's because my clonus is kicking in right now, which is shaking of the leg. I was diagnosed in October 2024, and the prognosis you get in the clinic room is pretty raw and unforgiving, kind of given 2 to 5 years from first symptom, and from diagnosis it's often a lot shorter. And I went home and did what most of us do, jumped onto Google to look for different answers. And what I found really was a community of people who were trying all sorts of things and struggling and fighting to live. And there's official medications you can take, but they don't really offer a great deal of hope. But there's a lot of other things at the edges of the science that have plausible mechanisms that people are trying. So I started to try some of those. And when I would go into the clinic every 3 months, I'd ask what I was taking and when I started. And I didn't really have a clear list of that. So I started to build my own tool for tracking supplements, interventions, mapping against the ALS FRS-R, which is a functional rating out of 48. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of attacked various parts of my physical abilities, and I was at 36 when diagnosed. And so I was building this tool, and I started to write blog posts about what I was trying, what I found to be helping in terms of symptom support. And I had a Dr. Lienka from the MND Association of South Africa, and she reached out to me and said, can you adjust this software you're building for our association needs? And around that time, I really started to understand how fractured the data and applications are in the MND space. But myself as a solo builder wasn't going to be able to do this on my own. So I started to look for collaborators, and Bec and I have a mutual founder friend, and I looked at Bec's work and what she was building, and it was very close to what I was building, but for epilepsy. So we teamed up there.
I think you need to rest your voice just for a sec. And also jiggle those legs around too. Do whatever you got to do to be comfortable. We don't care what you look like, just move. So then, Bec, did you receive an email or a text or a phone call?
No, it was actually during a meeting that we did together that we kind of pretty much started working together straight away. It was actually very much we both looked at each other's platforms and talked about what we were both trying to do and talked about what we wanted for the future and what we were trying to achieve. And we're both basically moving in the same direction, but for two different conditions. But at the end of the day, the biggest challenge for both epilepsy and MND is that we don't have enough data. It's not that we don't have enough. We do, but no one's looking at the right data. So much happens between appointments, the patterns, the triggers, the small challenge, like changes that could mean everything. But that information just disappears. And until we start connecting those dots, the deeper answers, the ones that could actually change lives, are going to keep slipping through the cracks. So that's where we wanted Curalysis to come in and to start looking at the bigger picture, what happens between appointments, all of the missed correlations, all of the missed supplements that aren't being tracked, everything that could be impacting either condition, whether it's causing more seizures for me or whether it's causing a faster progression for Joseph, or for some people, potentially, what if their supplements are causing slower progression? We don't know. No one's looking at it. It's being missed.
Is it an app?
Yeah, so basically, it's a web app for starters because we wanted to start with something that was accessible for everyone on everything. I actually started building in Swift, and then after talking to a doctor over in Africa, he suggested that I start with a web app instead. So his country everywhere has access to it. And I was like, okay, fair point. So I started rebuilding straight away. And yeah, so yeah.
So tell me how you use this app.
Yeah. So for me, I use it to track my seizures heavily and to try to find the rhythm in my seizures. So multi-DN rhythms are something that's been explored in epilepsy for years and researched heavily, but uh, like any research, like any condition, we have the same problem where all of the best research often doesn't have enough commercial value to it. So it just ends up research. So no one does anything with it. And we might have the answers hidden in a paper, research paper, or multiple research papers, but unless they could commercialize it, nothing happened with it. So basically, I've been trying to collect all of the research into epilepsy for multi-DN rhythms and for different types of patterns and correlations that occur, like catamenial epilepsy, and working out what the current system does versus what it's missing in the research. And a big problem is that everything defaults to catamenial when you see a pattern, but that completely excludes people who fall below the threshold or people who potentially have a multi-DN rhythm like I do, where it could look like catamenial epilepsy, but probably isn't. Probably has nothing to do with my hormones because it's still occurring whether I'm in that phase of my cycle or not. So that's what Curalysis can help to bring out of the dark is seeing those patterns, seeing it all, having it in charts, correlations being explored essentially.
I'll get to Joseph in a sec, but so you personally, let's talk about it for your personal use. So how do you use it to track what you're taking, and how do you use it to track you so that you can take
So
that to the medical professionals?
So I use it to track my seizures, but deeply. So ILA classifications, pre-ictal, ictal, and post-ictal states. Everything. So ictal means during the seizure. So that's usually, if you've seen any kind of seizure ever, it's usually the shaking. So the shaking stage would be the ictal stage. But what people usually don't know is there's a lot that happens before that and there's a lot that happens after, and that never gets tracked. It's just a date on a piece of paper, usually, if that's even tracked. So this goes into all of the signs and symptoms that people actually go through during a seizure. Pre-ictal, I have deja vu and I have a hot flash and I have these other very visible signs occur sometimes for people, but also sometimes they're not visible. Sometimes they're just something I felt and I'm able to go, oh, okay, this isn't good. I've had this feeling before and it's not like a normal deja vu where you can just ignore it. It's like, oh, hmm, that's happened before. And you get that strong sense, but it passes so quickly. With this deja vu, it sticks. It's very sticky. The
Oh,
strongest sense just keeps rising and makes you anxious. And
excuse me.
and then that's when I usually go and lay on the floor and call my husband in to bring me tablets or whatever I can try and do to stop the seizure going into the next stage. But that's where high risk comes in. If I know where my high risk is, I can be extra prepared. I can take extra things to ward off those seizures. Things like clobazam is a pulse benzo. So instead of taking a heavy benzo every single day, I could be taking it for 5 days out of the month instead. There's a lot of very, very big life changes that could come from being able to actually see my patterns, know my high risks, and be prepared for them. Not just gonna go and have a seizure while I'm in the middle of something very, very high risk. For example, like if I'm walking somewhere in like a hike and I'm not going to go and do that on a high risk day, am I? I'm going to choose to be with someone, making sure that they know, having all of these extra things on me, making sure I have my bedazzlement so someone can rescue me if I do go into a full seizure. So there's a lot of different things that can come into play.
So if we had everybody, let's start off small, in this country who was tracking their information the way that you're tracking yours. So two benefits: one for their own personal health, but two for researchers.
Mm. Yeah, for the research side of it, it means that we can start looking at those correlations on a much bigger picture. So for myself, just on a very personal note, I was looking at the fact that I'd never had a seizure on a new moon. Now, with me, for over 40 seizures, never on a new moon, that was a big one where I was like, is that just me? Now, if we start looking at more of the data and looking at more people, is there more of us that have a protective state during that new moon phase, or is it just me? We won't know until we have a much bigger number, but it's even the data that we've got with just a few patients showing that. So it's, let's see what happens.
Joseph, how is it benefiting you and your MND?
So at the moment, I'm mostly using it as a tracking tool. So I log my supplements and medications and other intervention approaches. For example, I use a red light therapy device. I eat a low carb diet. And the idea is to map that against my score. As an individual, with the way progression goes, I won't really know what is helping, but if we can increase the number of people on the application and look for um, commonalities between what people are trying, I believe we can kind of create a decentralized clinical trial in a way to capture that. And one of the other things we're working on is improving the way to navigate this condition because when I first started, you're kind of given all the information you need for your entire journey at the start in folders, or you go to websites. It's like reading a library. It's very hard to work out what is relevant for the individual. And so we're building a tool to help sequence when information is provided based on function, progression, onset type, and the approach that someone wants to take. Some people are happy just live the best life they can and not think about things too much. Others want to experiment at the edges, and finding high quality information around that is very difficult because there are a lot of scams in the space, as well as just people who share these ideas with high conviction when MND is just such uh, a broad condition that can impact people in different ways. So what may work for one person won't necessarily work for everyone. But yeah.
When you sign up on the app, do you give a history of as well? So what information do you gather when, maybe Beck, you want to answer this so Joseph can have a little rest?
Yeah, totally. So during onboarding, we have a process that people go through. The first step is just personal info, so your basics, your name, your date of birth, things like that. Care info as well. Then we go on to ask what condition you have. So obviously, depending on what you choose, is then what the next stages are going to help with as well. So the next stage after that is selecting what tracking features you want to use. And so as you go through that, you'd be putting in all of your different like selections. It's pretty straightforward. It's already pre-selected with the most relevant for your condition. but you can obviously add extras. You could choose to take some off if you don't necessarily to do something like if you're not taking supplements, you could take that off. Then you go on to the next stage and you'd approve or like not approve for research, which is completely optional. We basically, it doesn't really change anything except for during the clinical trial phases, we're not allowed to have some things showing because it's obviously research approval based. So then it goes on to the next phase, which the first thing that you do when you jump into the app is log how you're feeling, your mood, and your sleep, and the basics. So that's what we call daily tracking. And we've now personalized that even more so that you can actually add extra things into that daily tracking. And it could be supplements, that could be medications, that could be things that you want to do on every time you go into it, that's what you want to see come up and remind you straight away. Then your dashboard is also customizable as well to what tools and what you want to be tracking. We don't take a detailed history of people straight off the bat like some things do, but I also feel like that's something that if people want us to add in, we can add in, but I also haven't felt like there's a pressing need for us to add that in because a lot of the time people have already reiterated this information so many times and they don't want to have to reiterate it all again. So we have document upload section
Oh,
instead and
okay.
other options so people can just upload previous information
Okay.
without having to go through that. And we're implementing AI into that to make it even easier to take notes and extract from it all.
Okay.
I know, it's a lot.
uh, I just want to say that these two are doing this. No one's paying them to do this. This is something that they're developing themselves. Now, Joseph, what stage are we at the moment with this?
At the moment, we're working towards ensuring the platform is compliant from a regulatory perspective. So what we need to do that is to effectively run a clinical trial on the platform. And the cost for that is quite substantial. So, for example, we have to get ethics approval. And at the moment, because often these sorts of tools would be developed inside of a university or a research institution. But because we're developing it independently, we need to get that ethics. So there's high costs there for insurance to run the clinical trial and the application with the TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Association.
What are
Yeah,
those A words?
yeah, exactly.
FDA of Australia, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And what
So
is the
we
cost to
can,
do all of that?
yeah, so the
Do you want me
base
to
one,
touch on this one, Joseph? It
yeah,
might be a little
sure.
bit easier, just because I actually recently found out as well from someone else that what we did put was like the bare minimum for the insurance part. So it could cost up to 10 grand. We're hoping it won't, but we're also trying to negotiate with Bellberry. So we kind of put down the minimum that we could for the GoFundMe. We tried to be extremely lean with it. We've put down the full cost of Bellberry, but we're trying to negotiate with them to come down to a lower price. Like maybe they have a startup discount or something. I still haven't heard back from them. I've been waiting over a week. So maybe we'll send this podcast to them.
Who's
But
Belbo?
Bellberry is
Bellberry.
basically up to 40% of all companies in Australia use Bellberry for their ethics approval. And what they do is they just look over
Excuse me.
they look over, I don't stress, they look over all of your documentation and all of your plans, essentially. I'm trying to put this in layman's terms. And they take that and they work out whether what you're doing is ethical or not. And it's a very, very important assessment to have done. Usually it doesn't cost so much because usually you're partnered with a university. This is the other 60%. They use a university, they partner with a university, and the university takes a section of the IP, which is all good and well if you're a student and you planned that from the get-go. But with us, we'd be giving up IP for everything that we've worked on to a university who's just signing a note to say, yeah, this is ethical. So that doesn't feel like a fair trade to us. So I don't know. That's where we're stuck, and that's where we thought the right decision was probably to just stick it out ourselves and use the partnerships with the universities for other things, like we are partnering with RMIT potentially and JCU. I'm a founder in residence with, and they have been extremely helpful in lots of ways, just not with the ethics part. It's a bit too much of a hurdle. But yeah, that's where this comes in. And then the insurance costs, the $5,000 was on the lower end of a clinical trial notification, but until we're actually going to them and saying we're ready, then we're not going to get a final quote. So I had to kind of go on a ballpark range there. And I talked to someone else who said they did a low risk project the other day for sleep studies, and they said that those came to $10,000 for a year. So I'm like, okay, hopefully we can find cheaper insurance on that or get a Bellberry discount. And then the clinical trial notification itself to the TGA is just less than $500. That part doesn't cost much at all. That part's easy.
So you started a GoFundMe, and on that you had $12,000.
Yeah,
How much
that's
do you think it's going to be?
12,500.
12,000.
So we think it'll probably come to roughly that, but it could come to another $5,000 more than that, depending on who we go through for insurance. So, I mean, if anyone has any good tips, let me know.
Okay. So we're looking at $17,500.
Yeah, at this stage, we're looking for extra funding as well, though. We're trying to partner up with other organizations who could potentially help with that.
I've really tried hard for that, and I'll keep trying.
No, I know you have. You've done amazing.
No, I haven't. We haven't had a win yet. Okay. So you've raised $6,000 of the 17.5 that you need at the moment. Okay. So what benefit will this information, when we have a lot of people on it, be to the research world?
Joseph, did you want to answer from your perspective first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I initially partnered with Bec was that she really built out the platform research ready. So all these symptoms, medications, vitamins that people may be taking are mapped against clinical codes and official lists of these sorts of things. So unlike a lot of consumer apps where it is not captured in the right way, we're capturing it that way from the start. And one thing I realized that there's a lot of siloed work going on in MND. So the researchers have their databases, associations have theirs, and then the consumer or patient-facing apps have theirs. And our plan is to build a platform that connects those three stakeholders in a way that provides real insight to the individual. And if it's helpful day to day, and the associations can build on that based on the patient or person living with the condition, will collect a lot more useful information that can support the research.
So one of the biggest problems, besides having MND, one of the biggest issues that is discussed constantly in the community is the lack of data. That data is so disparate. Does it exist? Doesn't it exist? This doesn't talk to this. And, if we don't have base data, well, where the hell do researchers actually start?
Yeah, exactly. A continuous real world window into what life actually looks like for patients between the clinic visits. That's what we need. Not a snapshot every few months, but the full picture, the patterns, the triggers, the correlations, what kind of longitudinal data is gold for research. Like that is gold because they don't have that. Like usually they're looking for it, but they don't even have access to that in quality, especially not with research grade accuracy, not with clinical coding put into it, not with any of that stuff that actually makes it really valuable for them. And that's what we're trying to bring to the table for them, is something that takes the research side, but also meshes it with the human side, the patient side, our side, the side we're dealing with day to day.
It's extraordinary. Now, in an ideal world, if I said to you tomorrow, there's 20K, knock yourself out, bing, you get approval from TGA. What then is your
Then
dream?
we start our first year trial. So that year trial is just to basically prove that the platform is safe, that we're doing things ethically, and that we're collecting data in a way that's helpful for people and not hurting them. That's essentially what we have to prove, which at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be too difficult, but it's just the cost. They make it big hurdles for little people.
Okay, so what's the cost involved in that? And then probably we should put in some, you guys need to have some form of food put on your table. So if you did a trial, how long? A year or longer?
So it's a year for the first part, but that's not really our only trial, if that makes sense. There's so many different trials we want to do because we're already seeing research. So for us, we can see the research dashboard already. We're already going, oh, okay, we should do this and we should do that, and we need to be looking at this deeper, and we want to start building wearables for different things and making sure all the correlations are included. But we want to partner with the university for that. We're already in discussions with RMIT about that one. Can't say too much, but
Well, you
then
just
there's
did.
I didn't say much, trust me. The biomarkers are everything. It's all about the biomarkers, so I can't say too much on that, but we're
Okay.
trying to pair specific biomarkers together that will hopefully create a much clearer picture. And then we're also trying to partner with somebody else. I'm going to try not to say too much they've just got funding, and if we form a partnership with them, we're hoping to bring motor neuron disease also to the table as something they can look into also. And I've really got to try and word this in a way that doesn't give away too much. What they're working on, what it does for epilepsy already is very, very good. And they're already seeing massive, massive results in finding things out. So we want to hopefully partner with them and bring them more of the patient data to pair with that, and also get them working on MND and looking at that as another beachhead for them, basically, that they've just been given a bit of a job to do where they have to do that. So hopefully we'll become the partner that helps.
2 points. Number one, you'd make a really bad spy.
I know, I'm terrible.
Really, really bad spy. Number two, none of these agreements have been signed. So
No,
and
this is all just what we're trying.
Okay. And in this world, people promise you the world and deliver bugger all. So let's hang with that. And I'm not being at all dismissive of
So accurate. It's so
anybody,
accurate.
but yeah, the world is promised and then you're sent crashing down at the last moment. And
it has happened before.
It has. I'm aware of that. Joseph, what's your ideal?
We really need a digital infrastructure layer for MND.
Yeah.
And my ideal, one of the issues at the moment is that not only do we have these silos between the different ecosystem stakeholders, but also on a per country basis. Every country is working on their local patient registry and solutions for locals. But I think we need to see more collaboration in the space on a global basis. And beyond the clinical trial that we are funding at the moment, we have also submitted an application to MND as part of their impact grants. And that would be looking at how we can remotely monitor progression using accelerometers and short arm movement and leg movement tasks to track progression. And another area we would like to work on is the compass or navigation component. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're building in this dashboard that surfaces the information when it's relevant. And we're interested and speaking with different researchers looking for a partner who can help us test the efficacy of a tool like that, which doesn't presently exist.
You too, Rock. So the other thing I love about this is that it doesn't just include people who live in major cities, that because it's, so we can track regional and rural as well, which is a huge part of the sector that's missing out being included in this kind of information.
My town has 2,300 people in it, so I get it. My hospital is very small, does not have the access to the resources. Every time I have a big seizure, they're airlifting me to Cairns.
Jesus. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Normal for me.
We've been talking a lot about the personal, and we've been talking a lot about the possibility of research, but this, and we've been touching on, but to be able to care for people going through their journey with MND or with epilepsy or with any other neurological illness, this could make a huge difference to the care of people while they're going through. Yep.
So that's really the aim. If we can improve care, if we can make this app useful day to day for people living with these conditions, it's not such a burden to collect a lot more data. For example, sorry, I lost the. I wear an Aura ring, and that ring tracks my sleep, breathing interruptions, and HRV and similar biometrics. And while they're not specifically associated with MND in meaningful way, if we can collect the context of someone's entire health journey, it will really enrich the research we can do around just day-to-day life, which isn't captured right now through most trials.
Amen. And are you able to upload that data from your ring now into the platform?
We are working on it, but not at present. Again, like the funding there would help so much.
I know, babe. I know.
For example, the API, which is just a type of software that we would need to access, would cost $500 a month just to ensure we cover all device types.
Okay, thank you. I know there's money out there. This is such a bloody good idea. I mean, it is just feckin' genius. And I'm so proud of you too, really. We all need purpose in life. And you two have really, really rocked this purpose in life business. You can make such a difference.
I hope.
Yeah, I
already
hope
making
too.
a difference for me. That's part of what pushes me, is that it's already making a difference for me. Like, I already know my high risk dates. I already know when to be careful. I want other people to have that. That's part of what drives me every day, is that there's people on Reddit. Literally, I have a constant reminder for every time there's a Reddit post to /epilepsy community. And I get notifications every single day from people scared, terrified, questioning, with no idea what to do, where to go, no help, no idea when the next one's coming. And that's half of the biggest, like, fear factor in epilepsy is when is the next one coming? It could happen at any time. You have no idea. Is it when you're going to go for a swim? Is it when you're taking a bath? Is it sometime that you should not be alone? Like, there's so many different times where you think twice and you're like, oh, I can't do that. Should you be holding your baby on your own over the tiles? Things like that really play on your mind. And there's times where I just won't. I'll just choose to lay down with her when I'm holding her, or choose to pass it to my partner if I'm feeling off in any way at all, because I don't want to have seizure holding her. Like, that's not okay. I can go into full clonic mode where I'm stiff and tight around her. I'm like an anaconda. I don't want to do that to my baby. That's terrifying. So knowing the high risk makes a big difference. But I'm the only one. That doesn't seem fair.
No, it's not. Okay, what do you want to say before we wrap this up?
I think it's really important and to focus on the data and the right data. The other day you uploaded a podcast with Professor Dominic Rowe.
Yep.
And his concern was that, a decade from now would still be spinning wheels in that regard. And we have the tools now. We've got AI, we've got machine learning that is speeding up the pattern recognition and improving the tools on the consumer side as well. But we really need to push to prove the professor wrong and gather the data we need over the next 5 to 10 years, or whatever it takes. We can't just sit on our hands and wait for more people to suffer through this condition.
Exactly.
Bec?
I'm right there with Joseph on the same like, I don't even know what we call this hill. I'm gonna die on that same hill basically, no matter what. It's not okay. It's not okay. And that was a very bad analogy, but also maybe the right one because, like, yeah,
You're right.
dark humor. Sorry. But
No,
yeah,
we're all over it. Yeah.
like seriously, people are dying on that hill. Let's stop it. We can stop it. We're so close. We've got tools like Prophet, for example, which was an open source tool by Facebook built years ago that helps us connect the dots between that missing data. So the Aura Ring, when you take it off at night, people are worried, oh, what about the fact that I'm not wearing it 24/7? That doesn't matter. It's okay. We've got AI now to help us fill in those gaps, make that little bridge. That's fine. We can work with that. We just need people helping to make this all come together, bringing in the APIs so we can see all those variables together, bringing in the partnerships with universities so all of that data is actually being looked at together instead of just one big silo somewhere out there that just ends up not being funded anymore and disappears, like keeps happening over and over again. We want to stop that, and we want to start saving some of those silos too. It shouldn't just be dead data.
There's that dead word again.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously,
I heard it.
Yeah. Joseph, what do we say to her?
I need a spokesperson that talks for me.
Having this condition, you have to have a bit of a morbid sense of humor about
really-
it, or you'll
Yeah.
spend the whole day worrying.
Sobbing in a corner. No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
You know how proud I am of you two. I'm really grateful that you've come on today. I will continue to do whatever I can. I mean, we're not talking about a whole lot of money here that could make a significant impact and a significant change in the lives of people living with this. And for the two that are going to be diagnosed tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that. And, I'll just try. We'll keep trying. And that's all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And I look forward to meeting you later in the year, Joseph. You coming to the MNDA?
Yeah, absolutely. I've submitted a proposal to speak about my journey and what we're doing.
Good.
But regardless, I'll definitely be along to at least one of the days. And
Good.
I'm thankful that I believe this is the first national gathering in this sense, and it was quite a blessing that it ended up being in my hometown of Adelaide.
And actually, Danaher's Drive, of which I'm a part, we're doing in South Australia this year too. So when I know about the dinners and the nights, I'll send you the information. You can come and rock along with us. But you have to wear your party hat because we party hard, okay?
Very
I love
good.
that.
All right. I'm so grateful and thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. If you'd like to get in touch, you can message me on the Let's Talk MND Facebook or Instagram pages, or Let's Talk MND5@gmail.com. The information on this podcast is not medical advice. And the music you hear is by a much-loved member of our family, John Hanley. Once again, thanks to Evercare for sponsoring this podcast and supporting Let's Talk MND. Their commitment to care and community helps make meaningful conversations like today's possible.